everybody, and welcome back to the Sexy Business Podcast. As always, I'm Lewd Neko, and joining me is Spooky Dangerous.
Hello.
And as you can already tell, this is another very special interview episode. And today, our lovely chicken friend here is Hentai Master Art, who does, as you could probably tell, hentai art, but they also do lots of hentai gaming videos.
Hello. I, I draw things. I make videos. I, I don't know how to be more natural than that.
No, this is
So
great.
should we call you like Mr. Hentai Master?
I mean, some people call me hentai, some people call me master, some people call me henny. Whichever you prefer.
I think I like Henny. I think I'll get absolutely roasted in the comments if I call you Master.
Yeah, might be a bit interesting.
But let's kick us off. We did a little bit of a shout out before, looking for people to come on and talk about stuff that they work on in the NSFW space. And I think that you are a really interesting person to talk to because you take what is normally like a more Twitch, YouTube type approach to content, but doing it with NSFW games on Pornhub. And we've talked in the past about the kind of the difficulty with working with Pornhub and getting stuff on there. So I would really like to hear about how you kind of got to that point where streaming and putting stuff on Pornhub was just kind of the regular thing you were doing.
Well, actually, I started mostly on Twitch and YouTube. Like, I've had my YouTube channel since like 2007, so I've been around forever. But I kind of realized there's nothing really for like adult games. And I know lots of people put up like clips of things or like just like compilation videos, but like no one actually like sitting down and like playing adult games just like as a regular game. So I kind of decided like I think it was like 4 or 5 years ago. I was like, you know what? I need to become like the Markiplier of Pornhub. Like that was the
Oh my
goal.
Base.
god.
So I
And you've
upload
also
pretty much
played
every single day.
and you've played Blush Blush, which like has Markiplier in it,
Oh yeah,
basically.
I freaked out when I saw him there. I'm like, that is 100% Markiplier. That is so funny. I
Oh my
actually had
god.
two separate channels before. I had my Hentai Master Art channel, and then I had my Hentai Gaming, where I put like all the LGBTQ games. But the original Hentai Master Art channel got nuked because some company decided to DMCA my video series, like
Oh.
60 videos in, so all 60 videos got a DMCA.
Oh my god.
And yeah, then Pornhub was like, yeah, you're probably stealing things, so your channel's gone. Goodbye.
Yeah,
Oh.
jeez.
Yeah, so the lesson now is basically I pretty much only play games if I can talk to the devs.
That's fair.
So if I have a connection to the devs or a conversation with the devs, be like, hey, I'm playing your game. Is this okay? Like then usually I'll play those games.
That's crazy to actually DMCA someone that's making content for you. This is like a take because when Nintendo went and did the full big takedown of like Point Crow and stuff like that, everyone was like, "Why? Isn't this literally a marketing asset for you? Isn't this literally a value add?" And it's hard
Oh,
for me to understand why anyone would do that unless if they're literally slandering the product while they're playing it. Like,
well,
Visual
that's
novels
100%
are
it.
like, was it a visual novel, if I can ask? Like a
No,
visual
it was
series?
a game actually, a Nutaku game called Sexy
Oh,
Airline.
Nutaku. Oh
It
no,
was a
they're
Sexy
brutal.
Airline
Yeah.
game. The funny thing is
They
like every other Nutaku game I played is fine. It was just Sexy Airlines decided to DMCA me, but the videos had been up for like a year and a half, and I was like kind of late on that.
mm.
some guy was jerking into it who like works in Nutaku and was like, wait, shit. We gotta take this
Basically.
down.
On a whim, homie decided to Google himself and was like, "Oh no, wait a minute."
Yeah, pretty much.
How
Yeah, because
funny.
generally speaking, like I haven't had too many problems with like most NSFW devs. Like I've had like one or two of them actually reach out to me after I played their game, and they're like, "Hey, I saw you playing my game on Pornhub and thought that was awesome." And I'm like, "Thanks." But I do know like some like visual novel companies, like the bigger ones in particular, sometimes have really hyper specific rules about streaming their content. Um, Usually they're looking more out on YouTube and Twitch, but like it'll literally be stuff like you are only allowed to play up until the common route. If you play like any of the official routes, they'll take that stuff down. And I did do like a collaboration once where like they'd given me a copy of the game, and specifically they told me like don't play beyond this point, which I was like that's fair. You know, it's a kinetic novel that's like 3 hours, so you don't want me uploading the entire game.
Yeah, because then this watching someone play the game is identical to the experience of playing the game. That said, our game Black Contract, which is like I don't know, 15 minutes end to end, whatever. It's basically an animated comic, so I would say kinetic novel, is uploaded in its entirety to Pornhub, and I'm not in any kind of hurry to try and take it down. I think it's fine. But also, it's not like our big moneymaker, neither. It was just a side project that we did to kind of use assets that we had.
It's like people are gonna pirate it anyways. Like if they actually like want it that badly, and don't want to pay
Yeah.
money, they're gonna figure out ways to get
Well, yeah,
it. So it's
isn't
kind of like
everything on F95 Zone these days anyway? I know all my shit's on there. I went and just
pretty
gave it a high
much.
rating, like instead of reporting it. Ah,
Yeah, like there was a company I actually I'm working with right now. I don't want to give out too many details, but their game just came out, I think 3 days ago, and hackers have like already like
oh
taken
man.
the game apart, gotten all the like, because it's a free to play game. They've already gotten all the currency. They've like completely ripped the game to shreds already, and the devs are like, "How did you do this so fast?"
Mm.
So I'd like to ask, I guess we talked a little bit about like your origins of like how things got started a little bit, but what was like your hentai origins? Like what did you see or what did you play that you remember early on that was like, "Oh, I really like this stuff."
The funny thing is, actually, I started mostly doing art of sex workers just because there was one in particular, like years ago, named Ramona Flower, and I used to draw art for her because she'd super like it, and I was like, oh, people like this, and I started drawing more other sex workers, and I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. And then, um, like I said, I kind of just was looking for stuff to play on Pornhub because I was thinking, okay, well, like I said, I want to do the whole Let's Play thing on here. And the game that kind of really got me started off was actually Booty Farm. That was probably the first big game that we kind of played on Pornhub, and that one really kind of led the way to everything else. It also really helps the dev team behind that game, Tender Troop, is like been super nice to me.
Ah.
And like they're always very supportive of like their players and whatnot. So that kind of pushed me to do a lot of other stuff. And I went from that to playing games like Crush Crush. What are some other ones? Yeah, Crush Crush, Booty Farm. Um, I think those are the two big ones, yeah, that I can really think of right now. Oh, and Booty Calls, that's another one, another Nutaku game. So basically, I kind of started with Nutaku and kind of branched out from there.
That's awesome. Did you have any games like before you started, like even like streaming or even thought about content creation, like that you really enjoyed? Like the things that made you maybe realize you like just enjoyed this genre in general? Like a really big one for me is like when I was like 15 or something, I played Corruptions of Champions, and I was like, "What do you mean there are adult games that exist?"
And the funny thing is like the first one that I saw before I started playing, I think was like Honey Plop. Um,
Oh.
Going back to Markiplier, I watched him play that, and I was like, "What is this?" I was like, I didn't like at the time. My idea of like loot games was just like whatever cheap flash games were around back then. But I'm like, this is a good game, and that probably like that's kind of really what piqued my interest.
Yeah, Honey Pop was one of my really early games too, because it had actual fun gameplay. Because I'm a big Match 3 fan.
Like, puzzle games are right up my alley.
It is also pretty easy to get you just playing a puzzle or doing, like a little side thing rather than having to fully interact or run around a world or whatever when it comes to an adult game. Mind you, we do have a lot of like 3D modeled type games where using just like Unreal Engine or whatever is kind of easy to go and do a thing. But when you're in the flow state, you don't really want to be dicking around with anything that's too complicated because you want to be locked in. You want to be focused on the sexy action that's happening, right?
Exactly. I feel like with a lot of like adult games, it's like I mean, not a lot of them are not going to be as hard as, most like AAA or mainstream games because, the whole point is I want to see the titties,
Yeah.
So
Elden Ring,
if
but
you're
you can only
if you're
jerk your
locking them,
shit if you win against Radahn.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, nightmare scenario. But like, there's a lot of games. Even FGW, one that we've covered a few times on the channel, has just like a random DDR mini game. And I'm like, yes, I can play this one handed, but like the amount of focus I have to put in to not fuck this thing up is just too much.
Oh, absolutely. It's like the more concentrating you have to do, the more it's like, oh man, I'm not this is not worth the fab.
Yeah, exactly. But I am curious, what do you think is the best game that you've played and done coverage on?
Oh, that's a tough one. I've played some really good games in the last, I'd say, year or two.
Or like a
Um,
top 3 or 5 if you
no,
if that's
if
easier.
we're going top five, I'm gonna say maybe not top five, but maybe yeah, I guess I can do top three. The first one would be Flip Witch, the Forbidden Sex Hex.
Ooh,
That game
That
was
one's
like
recent, right?
yeah, it came out just
last
last
year.
December,
Okay,
and it's
sick.
like a Metroidvania style, like Metroidvania style action game with like lots of puzzles and cool characters. It's just like a really well-made game with an amazing soundtrack, probably the best adult game soundtrack I've ever heard. Um, I say another top one is Honey Pop 2. They like super outdid themselves in the second game of that series.
I
And
agree.
the other top game for sure would have to be Future Fragments. I've been playing that, and the person who made it, Hentai Writer, has just made this game with like so many different like dialogues and scenarios. I think there's something like 80, no, it's more than that. I think it's like 100 and some thousand words written into this game of
Ooh.
dialogue. Like it's just insane. And the game's I think it's about 90 or 80% done. They're working on the final patch right now. I'm s- I've played the game up to the very last level, and it's been so good so far, but the dev who made it was just like, yeah, don't play the last level till we're done. It's not anywhere near where it should be. But once that game is done, if it's done before the end of the year, it's definitely going to be like contender for game of the year for me.
Oh, interesting. That sounds exciting. Is that final update supposed to be soon?
Yeah, the guy creating it was saying that it should be out this month or next month.
Oh, hi.
Definitely before the end of the year, it should be all in the clear.
Okay. Well,
Ooh.
considering we've had some pretty impressive sounding contenders for best game, what do you think is the worst game that you've played?
Oh boy. Well, there's this there's this little company called Hooly Gaps, and
Holy
do you guys know like the angry Nintendo nerd? How he's like has this like beef with LJN.
cow.
That's my beef with Hooly Gaps.
Okay.
Their
Oh,
games.
wait. They did that. Do you remember when we did our like reviewing games on Steam episode, Spooky?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They did the fucking AI generated like lust goddess,
Oh,
gacha bullshit one.
yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, they just make either impressively bad games or games that like whoever wrote it, I'm like, do you just hate women?
Oh
Just like the
no.
way they write some of the stuff, like he was like there was this one I can't remember what game it was. I think it was like Pussy Saga, which was like a terrible ripoff of Honey Pop. There was
Pussy
like
fuck.
this teacher showed up and it was like, oh, do you wanna fuck this ugly, saggy titted MILF? look at her gross saggy I'm like, what? Like, why did you write this? Like, you made this character. Like,
I know Honey Dev would never do that to Jesse.
Maybe that's the
yeah,
strategy.
just anything by them is um is so interesting because like they also made a really popular new taco game. You might have heard of it, the Cunt Wars, the card
Oh
game.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And like that game is great, but like I was like, why is everything like the description on the game is something like get your bitches in line and and I'm like, why are you talking like this?
It's like
Yeah.
a 12-year-old middle schooler's understanding of what sex is like, where it's like, ah,
Yeah,
yeah, bitch, suck on my dick.
yeah, it's just so un unnecessarily vulgar.
Also
Which is
expecting the
impressive
like
coming from us.
Yeah,
true, right? Compared to some of the regular stuff that we've seen. But it also feels like it's expecting the like hyper submissive woman to the hyper dominant male, like exact fantasy of that.
yeah, it's just like a game for like that 0.5% who's just like, yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
I found Cunt Wars because there was just so many fucking pop up ads for it at the time. So it was always just like, this feels like a scam. And then you play a little bit of it, you're like, this is just okay. Why have you marketed it to me this way? I guess. Um, which is kind of weird. I don't know. I think as an Australian, having a title like Cunt Wars is just something that happens at Campbelltown train station after 10 p.m. It's really not that weird. But for Americans, it's like the word that you do not say. So like imagine it's like way weirder. So like there's
I
gonna be
I
no
just find
word
it
of
very
mouth marketing, right? like
yeah, it's a very unsexy word for me.
yeah.
There are very select scenarios where the word cunt is sexy, but in general, I'm even pussy war sounds more appealing
Yeah.
because it sounds kind of funny and cute. But I don't know, cunt wars just sounds
Well,
violent
to
and
me
not
it's
in
a
the sexy
person.
way.
It's not a body part, it's a person. So it has a completely different connotation.
Oh goodness.
Like it'd be like if the game was called like Wee Wee Battles, you know? Like it's just like that's not the right it's not the right word you're going for here.
Especially for the game's title.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like pretty basically if you go to like the Nutaku site and just look at any description from a Hoolie Gaps game and they're all just the worst. Every
yeah.
single one of them.
The one that we looked at looks like an AI art asset padded game that was just like so not game. Like it was just like minimum
Yeah, it looked
effort.
very gotcha
Yeah.
bullshit.
And the comments were lighting it on fire. So I don't know that they're going to have the best reputation natively anyway.
Yeah, I don't really I'm not surprised. I just remember there was another game I played from them that they had. I think it was like I think it's Love Academy, one of them. But they had this girl who was like supposed to be French and like her accent wasn't French at all and then like she didn't know any French words.
Mamma mia, I'm from the
Like
homeland of France.
yeah, it was basically that. Like there was this part where she's like, Mon Dieu, which is like, my God, in
yeah,
French. But it was like, Mon Dieu, what is happening? And I'm like, is this French?
that's so
Oh my
funny.
gosh. Well, now that we've heard a little bit about some of your experiences playing various games, what has reception been like to your games or your art? You've been doing this for a pretty long time. Do you have people who comment on your videos? Have you received feedback or anything like that?
Funny thing is, I get like a 90-10 reception where it's like 90% of it is extremely positive, and then there's a 10% that's just like you get like the most negative person you've ever met. So, like, I'll get people who will comment, like, wow, like, awesome video. Like, I want to see more. Thanks for making this. Or, like, whoa, I love this art. Like, well, why did you decide to play this game? Like, oh my God, this is so cool. And then the 10% I get is I get the people who are like, You stupid asshole, why are you playing? Why
Oh
are
my
you playing
god.
this video game? Get your stupid face off the screen, you piece of crap. I hate you and I hope your family dies because like just this long rant on like, episode 76 of Booty Farm with a
Wow.
random person who's never said anything to me before. And then it's the same with the art. Like most people love the art, but then every now and then I'll get someone who I'll draw them. They're like, that doesn't look like me. And actually, like, if you are drawing me, like, I need you to pay me because you're using my likeness. And if you're making money, then you need to be giving me money as
Oh
well.
my
And I'm like,
god.
I literally woke up. I'm like in my pajamas having tea, and I'm like, oh, that looks like fun to draw. And I spent 10 minutes drawing it and put it online. Like, there's no money being involved here, but I had someone who like basically went on like this rant about how I drew them and they didn't look I can't remember where she was from, but she was basically saying I didn't make her look Asian enough, and because of that, I'm being racist and I'm a terrible person. And then she got like all of her friends to like gang up on me, and I'm like, what is happening? Like, I literally just drew a picture of you. Like, I'm gonna need you to calm down.
But
I
it's
can
also like
delete
you're
it.
not saying you are professional and like this is the best thing ever made or whatever, right? When it's just like a
It,
sketch or a thing like that, it's kind of insane to be so critical about something as if it was you presenting it to the world saying, hello, this is the best thing I've ever made.
yeah, it's literally like I literally frame it as here's a 10-minute doodle. Like, I
I
don't
mean,
know
like,
what you expected.
as someone who's like, you've drawn me before, like, my reaction was like, oh, wow, someone drew me. That's pretty much my reaction every single time. Like, I've had people literally send me like sketches they did on like pen and pens, like paper, like little tiny sketches they probably did just for fun. And like, they're not real artists or whatever. And like, I'm like, cool, you drew me. That's awesome.
No one
Yeah,
ever draws
I feel
me.
like
No,
that'll
yeah.
that'll change tomorrow. Get me a picture, I'll make it happen.
Hell yeah.
No, I mean, okay, I guess that gets into like interactions with audience a little bit. But like you talked a little bit, or you mentioned that like you interact a bit with content creators. What are some like positive experiences you've had interacting with content creators?
The funny thing is I've actually gotten some like work and like little things from like working with other creators who like have found me or I've drawn something of them and they're like, "Hey, do you want to like help me out on this project?" And I've been like, "Yeah, absolutely." Or I've gotten uh I've gotten invited to like certain things. Like the funny thing is like I went to Exotica in Portland like maybe four 4 years ago now, I think, maybe 5 years. And I had actually drawn a lot of people at that convention. So the funny thing is like I would see you know, some of the adult stars who would see me, and I was like, oh wow, like that's so and so. Like I want to go hi and be like, hi, like nice to meet you, blah blah blah. And like I had like two or three of them like run up to me and be like, oh my God, you're the guy who drew me, right?
Aw,
And I'm like, what?
That's pretty cute.
And
that's
uh,
wholesome.
oh, it was great. Like I met on the way out I met Stormy Daniels. That was fun.
Wow,
'Cause
lucky.
Damn, big
I'd
name drop.
actually I actually ended up had ended up drawing her because I basically was like when I first started drawing stuff on Pornhub, I'm like, let me just draw the top 100 people because they're popular, why not?
Hmm.
And she ended up being one of the ones that they drew. So I was like, hey, wait, I know you did the thing. Here's here's art of you. And she was like, oh, awesome. They showed her bodyguards and stuff. And she's like, that's very cool.
That's cute.
And yeah, that's my big name interaction story, but that's basically it.
So I am curious because one of the other things that you do have that is coming up is an awards show. And it's something that we've talked about previously, maybe jokingly, maybe serious. Maybe we'll do like a recap at the end and be like, here's all of the stuff that we looked at, which was the best. But I'm curious as to how do you, I don't know, put it together? Do you have like a method where you go, okay, look, this is the categories, or look, this is just, my top 10 or whatever? How does this thing all come together for you?
Well, the first time I did it was last year, so this is our second annual Lewd Game Awards. And basically, I since I play so many games throughout the year, because like I said, I try to do a video for every single day. I was like, we gotta have like a best of at the end of the year. So the categories are kind of just based off of like what I've played and how I can group them. So it was like we had last year we had like best action game, best adult visual novel. I had played so many that I had like a category. I had two categories. Actually I had like a straight best straight visual novel and a best gay visual novel. And I also had a couple other categories where it's just like best soundtrack and just basically whatever I can think of for the categories because I don't just play the games that are new for the year. I play whatever's new to me. So some games on the list may be like 3, 4, 5 years old, but it's new to me. It's my show. So I basically kind of pick it from there, and I've decided to just basically message all the devs who I nominate and like, hey, like, just can you write up something if you win? And then since I have a lot of connections with game devs as well, I was like, hey, maybe we can showcase some trailers and stuff too. So I got a bunch of
Mm.
trailers of like upcoming games and games that are out, and um, yeah, we're gonna kind of do the same thing this year, except just like bigger and better. Eventually, I want to get some like guests, but yeah, we're trying to build this up from kind of the ground here, and I'm yeah trying to get as many categories and trailers and stuff as I can fit into my little 1 hour show that I can.
Yeah,
Well,
I
if you
feel
ever
that.
need like a duo to announce one of the awards, like Oscar style.
Greatest girl cock in game or something. Yeah, we could make that happen.
I would love that. I'd absolutely love that.
Hell yeah. Because we do like working and collaborating with a lot of other people in the NSFW space. And part of that comes from, like the reason why we do this show is to spotlight creators or talk about games that have been made and see how everything kind of contributes to this space. Because it's not mainstream, such a shit way of describing it, but it's just not something that people encounter as a group. It's like such an individual person's journey. So it is
Yeah.
hard to really get somebody else's experiences or to understand what happens behind the velvet curtain or any of these kind of things to really know what's going on. And being able to come on and talk with people such as yourself does help uh, kind of personalize rather than have everything be so vague and distant so that people can get an idea of what kind of stuff is going on. The other thing that I wanted to shout out that I think is really cool, where you have both straight and gay content on your channel, because I had a bit of a scroll before, and I know it's obviously going to be annoying for people to have to see literally the first text on every single title is the category of which it is in, but because some people are so scared of gay content, I guess that makes sense. But I think it is kind of cool that you're able to just kind of casually look through and do both things and have them sit there together on the channel. And it's not like you had to make a whole separate channel and hide all of the gay stuff away from people, right? Like you're able to just go, look, this is the stuff that I like. Here, all of it is, which I think is kind of based actually.
Yeah, I like to just kind of show off, like, games. A good game is a good game regardless, right? So
True.
like for myself, like I'm 100% straight, but I do love playing all the gay games because it's like I get to view an experience in a way that I wouldn't experience it. And I feel that like when I play a game, I care like long as the story is well written and the characters are well done, I I usually have a good time with it. So I like to try and showcase that like, hey, like doesn't really matter what your orientation is or like what you're into. Like if this game is good, play the game. Like I one of my another game that I didn't announce as one of my top favorites, but is actually pretty up there is a game called Tailbound. I don't know if you've heard of it at all.
No,
I have
I've
not.
not.
It is like a Legend of Zelda style uh gay furry
Okay.
Ooh,
um
that sounds fun.
um game, and it was a blast. I think I think that's yeah, that game, that's the one that that won game of the year for me last year actually,
Oh, nice.
was
Oh,
Tailbound. And the funny thing is I asked the dev for a quote for winning, and his quote was never spend more than $30 in a hentai game.
So
I was like
based.
I was like, fair enough. The game was like 29.99.
That's really funny.
But yeah, it was great. So I pretty much I just like to have different gaming experiences and play, see what people's stories are and what I can experience through these games. So I definitely decided that everything should just be on the channel. It's kind of labeled. The only time something's not labeled is when I'm like, I don't really like know how to label this sometimes.
Mm.
So
I
sometimes
feel
I'm
that
just
with
like,
my videos because like
yeah,
I'm a woman reading the game and like I'm in the corner, but sometimes I'm playing like a game that's exclusively gay, and I'm like, I is this straight or is this gay? Because I feel like if I put it in the straight category, people are gonna get mad that I'm playing a game that has dicks in it, and if I put it in
Yeah.
the gay category, they're gonna get mad that a woman is speaking.
Look, Matthew Lillard once said that as long as there's a girl in the room somewhere, it's not gay.
See, X videos at least had the bisexual category, but like Pornhub just has straight, gay, and like trans.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm like, not sure.
yeah, it's interesting because Pornhub has a really interesting thing where they like really hard wall gay content away from the straight content. So
God
um
forbid.
I know.
sometimes my videos will they'll tag it as solo male, and because I have so much gay content, even if it's a straight video, it'll show up in the gay section, so then nobody watches it. So I'll get a video that has like
Oh.
10 views, and I'm like, what happened? And I see the solo male tag, and I'm like, ah, you son of a bitch. Because yeah, I can't remove the tags basically. So that's one of the weird things to navigate around Pornhub with that is trying to like be like, okay, like I have both content and I've like put everything in playlists and like kind of separated it off that way, but they um they definitely have their own hard wall where things just do not pass. So
Yeah, it's one of those things like YouTubers and Twitch streamers don't have to think about, I guess, because like it's like
yeah,
the most annoying part about uploading like videos of like NSFW games. I mean, the most annoying part is how like all of the fictional content is treated like real content, for
Mm.
most sites. So like a fictional depiction of something is seen as just as serious and illegal as the real depiction of it,
Or what
which
we call
can
the dog
severely,
cock rule, where any furry
yeah.
character with a non human penis is considered bestiality.
Yeah, so that creates problems. And then also, like, it was just the most annoying part of uploading is like I'd upload the video and then I have to add in like a bunch of tags and then like I have to make sure it's in the right category. Sometimes you have to like make sure you have everything tagged correctly. And like sometimes you can get in trouble. Like if you accidentally like put the wrong tag or put it in the wrong category, like you can get little flags on certain websites. It's kind of scary.
Oof.
well, like my thing with Pornhub is that they're very good at detecting things to the point where it's too good and it screws me up. Like there was a couple of videos that got blocked when I tried to upload them, and they never tell you what's wrong. They're just like community
Right? Just like
violation.
TO violation.
Yeah. But I'm like, I don't know what happened. And like the smallest cases I've had one video where somebody said, I'm just kidding, but because the word kid was in there,
Oh my
they're like, oh no,
god.
this is a kid thing.
Oof.
And I'm like, no, like
That's
that's
crazy.
not what's happening. Or when someone says kidnapped, I have to be like, oh, they were taken. Because I found that I can't say abducted because they
Ah.
obvious terrible things that have happened, but
Yeah.
Um,
I have to do that whenever like the R word, the violent act for
Yeah.
the that starts with R
yeah,
comes up, and like when I'm reading a game, I quickly have to just auto censor and be like, oh, they got
They got
non-conned,
wrecked.
or like yeah, or like they, or like sometimes I'll literally just be like they, and then just keep reading. I'm like I can't say that.
a terrible night for a curse.
Yeah. But
No,
that,
I get I get sometimes there'll be ones that what are the other ones that have been blocked? Sometimes like I said, kidding gets blocked. The worst one I think, other than that, is when something is non-consensual but like not sex related at all.
mm,
Like there was one where I played Magic Kami, I think it's probably like 3 or so years ago, and there was like these two girls, and like they basically have to become magical girls to save themselves from these demons. And the one girl's like, "No, I don't want to become a magical girl. No, I don't want to do this. You can't make me do it." And they were like,
Oh,
"Oh, non-consensual." And I'm like, "What?
yeah.
No, that's not how that works." It's like, "No, that's non-consensual acts. Sorry, your video is blocked."
We're going to get Inside Out banned from cinemas because they forced Riley to eat broccoli. Fucking got him. Bam. But we are coming to the end of the time here that we have for our Sexy Business podcast episode. It has been lovely to have you, but I did want to give you an opportunity to shout out where people can find you online so they can come and check out some of the content you make.
Awesome. Well, you can definitely find me on Twitter, Blue Sky, um, both under Hentai Master Art, and also you can find me on Pornhub under Hentai Gaming, like hentai and then gaming, GAYMING.
The best kind. But thanks again for coming on. It is always cool to see other people doing content similar to us. I know we are doing it on YouTube, and it's a relatively safe version, even though we say a lot of the nasty words and we haven't really gotten in any trouble yet. But it is cool to see that there is maybe a space over on Pornhub that we could be working in. And I am curious to hear the awards show, seeing what kind of games are going to be showing up on your radar, showing up, winning any awards. And if you're listening to this and any of that does sound interesting to you, make sure you go and check it out, because I'm sure it is going to be exciting to go and have a look. It already sounds more exciting than the actual game awards that we have, where everything is a circle jerk, so it can't really actually be that different. But once again, if you've made it this far into the episode, you just have to click the like and subscribe button. We've earned it. Just hit the damn thing. And then hopefully we'll be seeing you next week, same time, same channel, when we'll have maybe another cool guest joining us. We can talk about everything that is going on in the NSFW industry here on the Sexy Business Podcast.
bye bye.